Lewis, Montana State University Extension Agent for Glacier County. Today I would like to discuss a little bit about why it is so critical to sample hay and also how we go about that process. And then we'll do a demonstration about how you can use a cordless drill and a hay probe to actually achieve that sample. First off, who should sample their hay? Really, anyone who grows or produces hay, anyone who's purchasing hay, or anyone who feeds hay. It really is critical as it gives us an analysis to know what are we actually feeding those livestock. If we don't sample our hay, we potentially spend extra money purchasing nutrients that we don't need, or we don't provide enough nutrition to those livestock and we see reduced performance, which has long-term impacts in our livestock herds. Really, really important to do. And if you're purchasing hay, always be sure to ask for an analysis before you go ahead and buy that hay. So how do we go about sampling hay? First, we want to identify what we refer to as lots of hay. Now, a lot is a group of hay that was put up under similar conditions from the same field and is the same type of hay. So one producer may have multiple different lots of hay. For example, you might have first and second cutting alfalfa, CRP hay, and oat hay, for example. Each one of those would be tested differently. What you want to do is identify those lots and then sample approximately 10% of those bales within a lot. So if you have 500 bales of first cutting alfalfa hay, you're going to need to sample about 50 of those bales to get a uniform sample. We want to make sure that we have a sample that's representative of that hay lot. So when you go out there, identify those bales. Most extension offices have a hay probe that's available for checkout. You can put that on the end of a cordless drill and then probe into those bales. We want to think about how that bale was made and go across those flakes. So if it's a round bale, we're going to go across those flakes. If it's a little square bale, a large square bale, come in from the butt end, so we go across those flakes and get a good representative sample. As we get those samples, you can combine them into a bucket, mix it all up, and then put a nice subsample into a quart or gallon Ziploc bag. Again, we don't want to mix various lots of hay, so keep all your samples from that one field, one lot of hay together. Make sure that you label those bags, include your name, and how you want to identify that. So for example, Johnson Farm first cutting alfalfa hay. You can then work with your local extension office in terms of submitting that sample to a lab. There's numerous labs across the US that do a great job in analyzing those samples. It's also a great idea to include your agent on that list, so when you get that sample back, they can help you put together a feed ration or know if there's things that you should be concerned about. Typically, a feed analysis can be between $15 to $30 per sample, depending on what you get and the type of analysis. Typically, we can get crude protein, energy values. We can also test for nitrate. So if you've gone into your office and had a quick test done before you baled up that hay, before you swapped it, and there was presence of nitrate, or if it's grain hay, we really recommend that you get that nitrate test done by a lab to have an actual level. Those labs can also give us levels of vitamins, minerals like calcium, phosphorus. We can also test for molds and mycotoxins if that's a concern. That does cost more. Sometimes you want to talk to that lab ahead of time to see what tests are available, but if you are concerned about that, you can also use that sample to get those results. Lastly, the lab will send you a very nice analysis, and that can be used to make management decisions. If you have some high quality alfalfa hay, you're probably going to want to save that for later on when those cows are past calving and they're in heavy lactation. If we have some poor quality hay, maybe that has some nitrates in it, maybe we can feed that to some yearling steers. We don't want to use that on those bred cows, for example. So really important that we have those analyses so we can match up our hay results with our livestock, their various classes of production, and make sure that we're not over or underfeeding and can be most efficient with the use of our hay and also our supplement dollars as well. If you have any questions, be sure to contact your local extension office and they can be happy to work with you to get those hay probes, other items that are needed. And again, we really recommend that producers do this every year on every lot of hay. And now we will head out to the field to give an example of how to go about this.